able to upload them until 5 minutes ago.
Gotcha.
I literally sat down, put them up, and was like, all right, let me finish setting up.
Gotcha.
Okay. I'm ready to go.
I too am ready.
Uh-oh, I have an echo.
Oh, I
I
too
had
am
you open. And all of a sudden, Paladins is screaming my own voice at me. It's awful. Okay. Anyway, if everybody's good, we can start.
Yay.
Check.
Yes.
Hey. Okay. So, when last we left, you had all returned to Evikro after defeating the hag, and you found a small group of armored men bearing the symbol of that group from Urdu's assailant. As one of these men was preaching the same kind of gospel you'd seen in their pamphlet, and he had a backup pamphlet for you, a large man in full armor with a dragon-shaped helm approached and challenged them. Only their leader accepted and was kind of immediately bested. Arazu followed where the man had been taken away by the local military, and gained their trust by demonstrating his abilities and connection to Poimana. They allowed him access to the prisoner to pull his memories, but as with the assailant, the man ended up falling comatose. At the same time, the rest of you accompanied Wile and your new armored companion, Sumari, to the local garrison to eat. You discussed what happened. He revealed that he'd been on a mission for the Crown Prince of Ma'aka and would like your help. You agreed and set off the next morning, first finding the Valakan escort ship, which was completely engulfed in flames on the water, all of the sailors dead. Then you found the cargo ship being besieged by fiendish frog creatures and a large carapace armored demon. It took time, but you managed to slay them all, saving a few of the crew as well as its captain. So we open with the scene aboard the ship is no less gruesome now that the fighting has stopped. The dead and dying lay all around you, covered in blood and soot from the fires. The dead frog-like creatures are beginning to deflate into piles of into pale viscous puddles. Their bodies sloughing away quickly in the sun, and the large crustacean-like creature you fought seems to be facing a similar fate. A sharp black ooze is spilling from his wounds and the gaps in his carapace that you guys created by repeatedly stabbing at him. When it hits the wood, it sizzles, and you watch that sizzling starts to catch fire. And open. And see.
Dun, ta-da.
Ta-da.
Is the surviving crew trying to put out the fire at all, or are they just standing around staring at the sky?
They're trying to. It's not a blazing fire yet, but those who seem capable of movement are trying to get something to smother it. Jackets, clothing, things like that. They're not really the wherewithal to get water from it.
I'm going to look at the captain and advise that perhaps they should put the more valuable of their cargo over on our ship and just abandon this thing.
I'm going to, but I was going to put all the dead bodies on this ship, and we were just going to tow it. There's a lot of dead bodies.
Will it stay afloat long enough to get to shore?
I mean,
so the ship isn't that badly damaged. This one, the other one was the one that was completely engulfed. This one had a few small fires, and now just where his ooze blood basically is, that is starting to catch some of the wood on fire. So clearly, this creature is clearly the source of the fires.
Maybe we can string him up in the masthead so his blood is dripping into the water and not onto the boat.
I mean,
Sure,
we could just like throw it overboard, right? Like, do we really need this creature? I'm going to kick it a little bit.
I bet Urdu would love to get a look at this thing from what I saw on its head.
I mean, okay.
Well, perhaps we could just tie a line to it and drag it behind.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of rope around here. We can definitely do that.
Plenty of rope, yeah. Which would you guys like to do? Trail it or
We
hang
might
it
catch
over?
a whale.
That's why I was suggesting maybe keep it up out of the water. So that,
The captain will say, by the way, Captain, tall, Triton guy, it just never came up last time.
Isn't he still unconscious?
No, you woke him up. Someone
Okay.
gave him hit points to save
I
him.
gave him some hit points.
Yeah, you healed him.
Yeah.
So he was regaining conscious. His leg is decimated. He's having trouble breathing, but he's conscious now. And he introduces himself as the captain of the vessel under the Crown Prince, blah, blah, blah. His name is Diller. And he says that
Dilla.
he would prefer to get this cursed creature off of his ship. And it is in fine enough shape with the remainder of his crew that he could turn this around and go back to Mapuka. And that is where he will deal with the bodies of his men.
I'm going to, in turn, ask him if he has any idea what these are or why they came from his ship specifically.
He says he has no idea what these things are. I've never seen anything like them. All of a sudden, we saw our Valakan escort get attacked. They swarmed up over the ship out of nowhere. They told us to go on, and we tried to, but they swam so fast they caught up to us, and we were overwhelmed.
And then I shall follow it up with a shadow conjured image of the black or the gold masked lady that was driving them
Mhm.
to see if that looks familiar to him at all.
He just looks really confused, like, what is that?
Can I do a religion check on whatever he just did?
Yes,
Sure.
you may.
And I would like to roll an insight check to see if I believe him.
Sure thing. Go for it. Nobody trusts my NPCs. My feelings are hurt. You believe him. He
I
doesn't
did
know.
warn you I was going to insight check pretty much.
I know. I'm fine. I'm teasing. Yeah, no, you can tell he has no idea what the hell that is that you've just conjured.
That's fair.
And yeah, it's not just all NPCs, isn't it? None of us trust NPCs ever.
We just don't trust Shayna.
Ouch.
That-
I was
I'm
trying
agreeing
to
with
make
Terry.
that a general thing so that my specific feelings weren't hurt. But if
I
you
would
want
like
to
to
go
take
down
credit
that
for it,
road,
but Terry typed it. I just gave it voice
anyway,
because I agree.
for Auntie,
I trust
You-
your NPCs, Shayna.
thank you.
But not you.
Ouch. You know what? Fuck you guys. Okay, so
You trust your NPCs.
religiously,
Sabbaths.
this thing that he's conjured, this image, gives you nothing. You
Okay.
don't recognize it from any kind of iconography.
Okay.
For the record, for everyone else, the image he conjured is essentially a solid gold mask, no features. It's just like not a flat, but it is a featureless dome just with eye slits. And the rest of the figure is cloaked in black fabric. And that's all the image is. But that's not something that is common in Ma'akan iconography for any religious purpose at all. It's not something you recognize.
And it wouldn't be like, and it's not common just culturally or anything like the mask.
No, it's all very odd. The Ma'akans tend to like their features. They like big, bold features in a lot of their imagery in general, even with, the gender fluidity of most of the deities. They like getting to play with it artistically. So having it featureless is odd.
I'll also spin it around and have it change on the other side to the male equivalent from the prisoner's memory with beard.
Okay.
But same mask, basically. It looks like.
It's the same mask, but he's in fitted black clothing, high boots. He's
and these
shorter,
masks mean nothing.
stockier, and he's got a big beard that comes out beneath the mask.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna look at Urzu and you think maybe our friend Jin? He seems to be tied up with some rather unscrupulous people. You think maybe he would know what's going on?
Are you referring to me as unscrupulous? He's kind of my best friend.
I'm just gonna give him
Where's
this
Master?
because I am like now. I'm just gonna give him this look of like, yes.
I will definitely make a point of asking him. I don't recall seeing masks like this in his home when I
did.
was there, but it's possible that he's familiar with them. I will also say that I think they are tied to some kind of male-centric religion. I believe that their god takes on a male persona. Everyone keeps referring to it as a him.
Okay. I just. Okay, well, I think I'm going to get back onto our ship, head below, and contemplate how the fates had apparently abandoned me this day.
I will go find Jen because Auntie, you are Auntie right now, right?
No, Bassam.
Okay, Bassam made a very valid point, and it's always wise to check with one's bestie.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna hop over and go down to
hop
my
back over.
yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, I will say that Wile and Captain Diller are now having everybody, at least the living and able sailors, bring all of the dead, the Valakan crew that you had picked up earlier, and all of their own sailors back onto this ship and prepare it to turn about and go back to Mapuka.
Just
Okay.
love that name.
Mapuka?
Mapuka.
Mapuka. It's supposed to be all cheerful.
It
So
feels-
what encounter does Arazu want to have with Jin?
I just intend to see if Jin is familiar with these golden masks and their lack of iconography by any chance, as Basam indicated that perhaps his experiences have run to more seedier sides of life.
You can just say because he's sketchy.
Right?
I take
He's-
offense. And do I know what those masks are?
Uh-uh.
They,
Not the masks, not the people. Well, actually, you know what?
Uh-oh. Dun dun dun.
Who saw the images that you projected? Who all was there? I imagine Doll and Jin weren't, and we're back on the other boat just because the whole fight. I kind of imagine you guys were just on the other boat.
Well, I mean, I think I would
Yeah,
be there.
I know that
Yeah, I think we're all fighting on that deck. So.
Yeah.
yeah,
So that
Becca and I were flanking, if I recall, so
what is the closest to a memory check? Would that be like a perception
It
or
would be a
Or
straight
intelligence.
intelligence check.
straight intelligence? Okay, everybody make me a straight intelligence check then.
damn it.
I
I'm
am
better at wisdom.
everybody?
No, not you. Sorry. Only Gustava, Auntie, and Arazu. And I guess, oh yeah, no, Ian as well, but Doll was not there. Jin was not there.
That's okay. I'm not good at memories
Intelligence
or
is-
anything.
Okay.
Wow,
at
the
all.
intelligence is
Wrong thing, sorry.
quite low.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
clearly not good with memories at all.
My
It's not my
intelligence is quite high, except that I am still me, and
And we forgot to fix the cheats from last time. So I will say the only one who notices anything is Wiskava. That beard looks familiar, and so does the stature. That kind of looks like a certain dwarf you guys saw in an old memory, because Arazu likes to flash the image of that dwarf around too.
Oh man, now I want to combine the images.
You could put them side by side if you like, but you didn't make that connection. Only Wiskava did.
I know. If Wiskava says something,
Yeah,
I'm going
no,
to.
so I point that out.
But I'm going to make like a,
Yeah, I mean,
a collage version, so they're probably not even scaled well. Just like
I'm sorry, Arzu. I really don't. I mean, other than obviously, right? It's the dwarf. Like, I'm sure you realized that already.
I'm sure
I did
you're
not.
intelligent.
I actually have had very little encounters with dwarves in my life, so
So you would think the one you did would stand out.
I mean, but I didn't actually physically encounter it, and I don't want to be racist and assume that not all dwarves look the same.
That is fair. That is fair.
Board
All I'll
rolling.
say is the color of the beard and the stature look the same. Obviously, he's wearing a mask. You can't tell.
Gotcha.
For all
But-
Ayers who knows, they all have the same color beards.
Yeah, you never know.
You never
Maybe
know.
all dwarves have
I
dark
feel
hair.
like these bad guys have been watching too much Legend of Korra and are taking the rebellion to heart.
I hadn't thought of that. God damn it! You
I,
ruined it.
I went to art school. Bad costumes are kind of a thing.
That's fair. Hey, did you see these when you were in art school? Like this particular mask? Is it familiar?
We kill everyone in the world.
It was
Ours are a
your
little
classmate.
better, actually.
Your roommate from college is the cult leader.
I knew it. I knew it. Okay, so you guys recognize that dwarf, or at least think you recognize that dwarf. Is there anything else, Arazu, that you might perhaps want to share with Jin?
I'm trying to remember now if there was something in one or the other that would have been pertinent to him.
There was. Do you want me to tell you which one?
there was
Just
something
expedite-
that had to do with his weird like arms dealer thing, but I can't remember what was going on.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
those
was.
aren't from the memory. That's something from last
No.
session.
It was last session, as well as something in the dwarf prisoner memory.
Okay, so the prisoner is the dwarf. Gotcha.
Bottom. At the end.
On the
Well,
right
sorry,
side, just reopened
prisoner is
that
not
one.
the dwarf, but it's the one that's about the dwarf. Lo siento. Prisoner one at the bottom.
Scroll down to the very bottom.
Yeah.
Section of the man's mind. There's that. Balance. A spiked buckler crossed with a sword and a spear. I'm guessing is the part. I shall bring up the symbol or the sigil that was burned onto the top of the crates.
They don't know what crates you're talking about.
I don't know what crates I'm talking about anymore. I went to the paragraph you indicated,
Do you want to share what you saw or
and now
not?
I'm like reading backwards up.
I love
The
it.
problem is I
Making
can't
gifts.
immediately share the drink with or the memories with everyone because you don't always share everything. So I can't
know.
just tell everyone. So I'm trying to give you room to
So
roleplay.
I
but
would have recognized that this is a symbol that I've seen with Jin before.
yes, you would recognize this is the
Okay.
symbol that makes him twitchy.
Then I will say that the symbol of his friends also appeared in the memories of the prisoner. If he would like to take a gander,
Sure.
Is,
and then I shall bring out my pensive
is,
and allow Shayna to share
Oh,
memory
wow.
with you directly.
Thanks. Just
Is,
you're just
Like
gonna
the
let
best.
me.
That was the best idea I ever had for this.
I
This pensive is really saving my bacon.
Why would I be scared? Does anyone else want to see it?
just curious.
Yes.
Is Jin familiar with why we're on a boat?
I told him, but I don't know how much Chris remembers. It's also available to
Who
you.
kept chanting, "Motherfucker!"
I feel like
no.
I was going to my rack, probably past Doll and Jin, and I would just be like, oh,
He goes,
hey. Just feeling horrible for myself.
Auntie or Basab had a rough go this last time. That didn't go super great for her in general. That control water spell was fucking phenomenal, though.
Mhm.
That was pretty cool.
That was useful. But yeah. Do you see
She
it?
was the only
Chris?
one that kept getting spat on,
What?
right?
She's the only one who I did think get spat on, yeah. Everybody else ninja'd out of every single acid.
He got us on the last spit,
Yeah.
like half damage, but he got us.
Which, God, I'm still not over it. He's supposed to function like a water sprinkler of acid, and you guys were just like, nope, none of it. Like, all right, fine.
Arisu and Davari just acrobaticking around. It was like Yoda and Darth Tyrannus.
Evasion is a thing.
It is. So, while
I would like to get it. Bassam wouldn't have it, but I would like to get the pensive so I can put it up on my screen as on stream.
okay, yeah, sure. Are you as
I probably won't actually read it. I will probably actually bring it up and grab water while I'm at. But
Well, like
No,
most
right.
of the memories, you'll have to scroll because
Mhm.
Shannon makes like really good
Yeah.
stories.
I
which make-
remember.
No, they're really good. That's why I was saying it would have been better if I wasn't trying to read it while everyone was chatting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
all-
like I got the bare bones, and like you're like, yeah, you remember, and I'm like, no.
it's okay. Yeah,
I
if
pulled
again,
out the gold masks, and one was a female, one was a beard, and they were talking about a hymn, and that was like what I retained.
if I hadn't spent the first 2 hours of my morning, and I kid you not, 20 emails
Nice.
just about one specific immunization record, I would have had them up this morning, and I was going to message you and let you know, but I didn't have.
Is this for the kitty?
No, this is
Oh,
for me
Oh, okay.
for university. So like, yeah, you can't come on campus if we don't know that you're not going to give everybody a different kind of plague.
Gotcha.
Damn
I
it.
thought it was like PCSing the kitty. You
No.
have to get the
Oh, that's not
immunizations.
Who knows? Anyway, as long as whenever Jin is done. Sorry.
I'm not.
In the meantime, though, would anyone like to talk to anyone else or do anything else? Or
I would like to speak to Wylane.
Hmm?
I would prefer to speak to Wylane since he's captaining our ship.
Yeah, okay.
I would inform him. I think that given what's happened between these two ships, the prince needs to be informed.
Okay. How do you want to inform the prince?
I know of a way, but it would require a detour. So I would like to confirm with the rest of the party if they're okay with seeking shelter and letting me inform the prince via magical means.
Okay. Well, it's less a detour, I feel, because this was your mission, was to figure this out and report back to the prince. So
Fair.
Twilight would, of course, be fine with it, especially if the bodies are going to be taken care of by Diller and his crew. I mean, this was his crew, so he would know all of the details and their records and everything. If he's there when you're having this discussion, he will let you know, yeah, all of his crew and all of the Valakan sailors as well were from Mapuka. So, you know, they can be taken care of and returned to their families and everything there. And then the wounded can also be cared for.
Okay.
So that would work out.
That's good. That was my second priority. I wouldn't have asked if I wasn't sure that the bodies were being taken care of. So
Yeah, they'll be taken care of. It's all good. But
Eris has made a good point of taking care of most corpses as we go. That's what I was
Yeah.
trying. Well, Davari and I said last week we were going to see if these are the kind of people that prefer burial at sea or burial
Yeah.
in the ground or being pired,
yes,
and we would go with whatever that would be.
yeah, and as you are attempting to determine that,
if they say fired, Bassam will look at that boat, look that it gets already on fire, and be like,
it's a little far away, but
Yeah.
Did my Viking funeral,
not a
thank
Venn
you.
diagram of buried at sea but also fire.
yeah.
In Viking funerals that never happened, fight me.
Love it.
It's not how they did it.
Are we?
Funeral for the win?
If
Go
they
second?
did want a burial at sea, are we far enough out that they wouldn't just wash up on shore?
You would be, and there would be only maybe a half dozen that would want that, and those would be the ones that didn't have family back in Mapuka. Those who had family remaining would want to go back and have their remains dealt with there.
It would take
So-
at least a month for them to reanimate and walk back to shore. So
and I can take care of that. There's one of the few things that I can actually do
Yeah,
without
so
having to roll any dice about it. So I can actually take care of it.
I wouldn't make you anyway because, yeah, I would just let you have that one. But yeah, so if you guys want to do that, take care of the burials at sea, you can. It looks like Chris, you done? Okay, so you got to experience that. You
Mhm.
definitely recognize the symbol
Mhm.
and the crates. So what would you guys like to do or talk about, or nothing? Are you just
How
gonna?
far are we out from Mapuka?
Oh, good point. Let me pull you back to the map. So initially you guys had been intending to encounter the ships further around here, but you actually ended up encountering them down this way. So, ooh, I moved the map. Is that pinging properly?
Yep.
So this is around where you, oh, here, let me actually just put us on the one that we can all draw on, because ha ha ha. So yeah, so these were the two routes, goofy routes I drew. You had thought you were going to encounter anybody until you reached over here, but you instead encountered over here. So the Captain Diller is basically saying he will return to Mapuka here and have, his people dealt with those who wanted land or pyre burials. And I believe, Ian, if I know what you're talking about, the place that you want to detour to is right here on the edge of the mountains here.
Yeah,
on the main island.
correct.
So
So
Not-
did we already do then what we came here to do? Was that the whole
Yeah.
point?
the whole point of this was, the whole point of this was the prince had gotten in the way of military intelligence some kind of hint that one of these trade lines was going to be disrupted. They assumed it was the one to Makaloa, the capital, because that would be the biggest blow, obviously, to the monarchy's face. But in this case, it was the trade route that was actually going to Avikro. And that's why you encountered it, where that adorable little ship is popping up. I don't know who's drawing that, but I love that little ship. So that's where that ended up happening instead. So from the place, it would be early afternoon, I think they said, by the time the fight finished. So you would be able to get back to the place that Ian is talking about here by nightfall, whereas getting back to Avikro would take overnight, as would back to Mapuka would be overnight as well. So
I mean, Bisama isn't really invested in anything. I think she kind of accepts that this was probably what her visions were telling her was this little fight that we had. But so she's passed out, or she's not passed out. She's taking a short rest, and
okay.
but she would be interested in. She would let anyone know that she would like to consult this. She would like to consult her teas before we get into any particularly dangerous.
Okay.
Or to consult the stars at night. Basically.
Does the short rest matter if you do that before or after the water burials? Just curious. No? Okay. So we could pretend maybe that you did that first just to expedite decision making. And so now that those are cared for, the bodies are on the other ship.
Their unrecovered memories are sent up to Poimana.
If you guys want to just hop back fully onto your ship, we can start heading back.
What are they doing with the creatures? Just out of curiosity.
Well, good.
we were still discussing that, right? We were trying to just figure out.
I wanted to bring the leader back to Urdu.
Yeah, I don't.
And
Yeah, so we need to hang it off of our ship then. And
Yeah.
we're not going the same direction.
where are you going to hang it off of? Because I
Mine
know you
was
said
with Bowsprit, just right up there, so its stuff would just drop down into the water.
Like
this is
It's a fishing boat.
I
It probably
am,
has a way to hang the nets over the back side.
yeah. I was thinking more that because if you have it in the front, I don't know ships well enough, but if it's going fast enough, couldn't the dripping still splash onto the ship?
theoretically, but then it would be a great I'm blanking on the name, but the headpiece on the front of the boat.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Whatever that is.
And,
Yeah.
and depending upon how far out it is,
Figurehead.
it could be in the
Figurehead.
water before it hit the boat anyway. Or
Okay.
the water would just be putting out any fire that it would start instantly because
Mhm.
there's also water slashing against there.
If that's where you guys will string it up, doll.
Yeah, it was to say if people let
yeah,
Doll know
someone's
that
gonna have to
we
actually string it up though. We can't leave it in the nets, or it will light us on fire.
Is
Yeah.
there a
and
way we
Doll
can
was
wrap it
going
in
to help out
a
because we needed
couple
to
of,
drain
like,
blood.
is there
Okay.
a way we can wrap it in a couple of like canvas cloths or something, like extra sailcloth to absorb some of the acid that's leaking out before it hits the nets?
I will say that you can start to do that, but and we'll get to Terry as soon as I'm done with the sentence. When you you realize when that ooze hits anything fibrous or organic, that's when it starts to sizzle and boil. So it seems that organic material, porous material, especially fibrous, like linen, like wood, seems particularly susceptible to whatever this is. But yes, Terry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, just like Dolls used to bleeding creatures out in order to get the blood out of their little ones, he would look for any kind of pipe or something like that to possibly make that faster as well as be able to spill out quicker out of the body. Just to make sure.
Yeah, where are you thinking you'd get that kind of implement? Like a pipe or
I
I
something?
mean, some kind of maybe a stick or a staff someone has. It could be a cleaning utensil someone used for those lines, just makeshift into like a little pipe that you
Sure, there's
guys
some
can do.
harpoons around here somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be my ignorance with meat, fish, lobster type things. Don't you crack those, right? That takes a certain amount first. You have to crack them, or can you pry them open?
You can do either.
Okay. Well, if you wanted to then pry it open like that, I would say you could. And being a chef,
There's
you
already
probably-
some holes because it's dripping, and I've stabbed it
Yes.
multiple times.
It has been stabbed a lot. If I remember right, a couple of you aimed for gaps in the carapace where the pieces shifted, like armor. So I would say if Doll wanted to do that maybe while Auntie was napping, it would take some time, but you would definitely be able to do that to at least stem some of the flow to make it easier to tie up somewhere.
Yeah, and I
will
think you would still
inquire
ask
from
people.
Auntie if she's got a way to make this fiendish creature safer to this body. And that's probably why it's lighting things on fire. The blood.
So yeah, you're asking Auntie that.
You're a demon. Yeah.
Let me see what I got. I don't think so.
Real quick though, back to Terry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was also going to be asking since it's going to take a while to drain the blood. He's going to ask anyone if we knows we can eat it, because if we can eat it, we can get rid of it right away.
Give me a survival check.
The blood, you mean, not the body?
Curious. I know people eat blood, but
I haven't tried either.
honestly, even with a 13, I feel like the fact that it's setting things on fire, you would probably recognize this may not be a super great thing, what with for your insides. I mean, if you want to try like lick a bit of it and see what would happen, I would let you. But anyone else who
Thursday's
wants
not
to
going to be
try
down
it,
with
Come on,
eating the
Bill
body
could have eaten it.
because
yeah,
we
Bill
keep
could
going.
have eaten it if he wanted.
Bill's Bill,
It's
but
very
I'm
spicy.
yeah, I
It's
gotta
what
try
do
something.
you think?
If I'm afraid to eat it, who else is going to eat it? I'll try it. Just a small
Harris
piece.
is
though.
trying to preserve the body. He could care less about the acidic
I
blood.
have no way of preserving this thing. I could cast ceremony on it, but there's no way. But that ceremony has nothing about like making a
Yeah.
demon's body safe. So I don't.
I-
So I let Wizkava know that I
But I'm also
it's not
phoning ahead to Urdu, so in theory, she could be meeting us
Yeah.
if she really
Um,
wanted to get
okay.
it sooner. But I don't want someone eating the body I'm trying to get to her.
Yes, let's really quick to step back. Wiskava and Auntie trying to figure something out about this thing. Both of you would know with your specific interests and histories, this is definitely fiendish. Whatever aura this is giving off, you don't even need to do anything to tell that. It's really obvious to the both of you. Oh yeah, you guys already know all that. So yeah, you just get that this is fiendish creature. And okay, so Dahl wants to try consuming the blood. Arazu wants to preserve the body. If that is the consensus that you guys want to go to, I would allow Dahl to try drinking the blood.
Yeah, blood pudding. I mean,
If you want to try that, tell me how. I don't know how. Do you just drink blood pudding? Do you have to cook it? What happens with it?
it's just better mixing up, see if it actually tastes with anything. So basically, I'm just going to get a little bit of it so they can try it with a little bit of the ingredients I actually have. So there's sometimes people make gravy and things out of blood and stuff. So I tried a couple different things and try it. So if we know that it's not going to burn through inorganic material, you're going to try it with maybe a bowl, put a little bit there, a little spice there, a little bit, nothing too much, because the whole point is it's going to kill me. It's going to kill me. You don't worry about it. But I'm not really worried about that for some reason.
You know what? Fair. There's no way. Okay, so first of all, whatever herbs, spices, oils, whatever you put with it, it immediately burns. Like burns to a crisp, burns away. So you pop a basil leaf in there, the whole thing catches, and then you just have this nice charred circle for where it used to be. And it kind of, even the salt, minerals, anything, all of it, and foil. It seems to be staining the bowl. I assume you're using some kind of wood or ceramic, ceramic or porcelain or something, not wood. You wouldn't be able to use bone either, because that would also burn. Man, I mean, just, I guess, roll me a d6.
He's letting you off easy, I say.
Take 2 damage as it starts to eat away at the bones that are remaining in your jaw. And in fact, you lose one. It just kind of like rots. It's not edible in the way that I think traditional blood would be.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a kick. It's got a little bit of a kick. I don't think anyone wants to try this.
Probably not. Probably not. Good.
Now we all know.
However, while you're experimenting and cooking with it, I'll say that you were able to drain enough of it to make it a little easier to bind to the figurehead if you want.
Are the frog creatures acidic as well?
They are puddles at this point. They kind of just started sloughing away in that way that really nice, moist, organic material does in the sun when it's not used to being in the sun, where it kind of goes and it just kind of splooges out.
Gross.
Yeah, so everyone's just kind of trying to hose them off the deck however they can at this point.
Probably with water that's been flooded into the ship down below.
Yeah,
Built
there
water.
has been a bit of that. So
Okay.
Well,
not to.
well, did we even
belabor
take any of those? Because that was on the other ship.
Yeah.
we're all still on the other ship. So I mean, if you guys have split and are parting, but you would have seen that before you were leaving. That was at the intro. They started kind of deflating and oozing pretty quickly. They clearly need water a little bit more than the carapace creature. So yeah.
Yeah. So I guess after a while this is happening, I'll see if I can get the group together to propose my plan of informing the prince, since now we know what's attacking the trade routes.
Okay.
But I assume this is while they're doing their thing, so I'll just wait till that's over.
Once my short rest is done, I'll get back up to the ship, see the figurehead. Now we're riding in style.
It does look sufficiently gruesome because it was also big. So it stands out.
Not big enough speakers.
There isn't a built-in base. You need the built-in base in the floorboard.
But our
Otherwise
hydraulics are fucking killer.
They are. You can ride real low. That means the ship's sinking. What as you guys are, does anyone object? It doesn't sound like it though, to this plan of heading back now that you're done?
Nope.
Yeah. So as you sail, does anyone want to participate in the survival role bit? I think Wiley was doing that before, and so was
I do.
Sumo.
I'm
Whoever
good.
wants to participate, roll me. And I forget who had the binoculars now, but someone had the binoculars. Maybe it was Skava took them.
I may still have them.
Arizu.
Oh,
Was it? And you gave an Arizu? Okay.
On the
If
one
you have
hand, I
them-
really want to roll. On the other hand, I feel mine wasn't bad.
That's not bad.
I mean, I probably would have given them back to the captain when we thought about it.
Oh, you would have?
I
Okay.
think
Then
the last place. I think the last in character use of them was with me.
okay, yeah. Okay, then Wiley gets
Whoever
his
it was,
advantage.
I probably would have returned it. Like that's not something that I would have
Okay.
just like kept on the sly.
Well, I'm really I am glad you gave them back because woof, he apparently needed that advantage. And I would say that Auntie and Arazu probably also notice it. As you guys are sailing, you notice that a storm is beginning to brew on the horizon. It doesn't look like, for those of you with the higher rolls. Oh, okay, yes. It doesn't seem like anything particularly bad at the moment, but you notice the skies are growing dark, clouds are forming, and it definitely looks like, for those of you who are familiar with reading weather, especially at sea, it's definitely going to rain. This continues on for a little while until I'd say you reach about here on the mapping. And then you hit the storm. The really nice cinematics of like the first burst of lightning strike, and all of a sudden the air smells of electricity.
Crack chow.
And you notice in the distance, nice, kind of along these lines here, like ding, 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 you notice 3 figures. They're not this far apart, obviously, but I'm trying to give you an example. There are 3 figures on the water, small things from a distance that are blue and misshapen. And anyone who wants to look into that more needs to give me a perception or investigation. Let's get the same numbers.
Let's see.
Lots of 11s.
Boom.
There we go.
There we go.
I
Okay.
have.
With
I
actual
have
eyeballs.
perceived.
You have perceived. Okay, so Arazu, you definitely notice as you're getting just that little bit closer, the figures are becoming more distinct, the shapes. Definitely humanoid in shape. I would say that Jin can actually tell this as well, but only Arazu can kind of judge that from this distance, these things are each easily as tall as the height of the ship's hull. They're standing as though they are part of the water. Their bodies are nearly translucent, darkened only by the reflections of the gray skies above and the shifting of the rich blue waves beneath them. They stand unmoving on the water, except for that constant roil that seems to be part of their bodies. And the
I
rain
will
begins.
definitely be alerting the captain of this hazard ahead.
Okay. Wiley now notices those little binoculars. And I will actually have him point them out. He points them out to Sumari as well, but he will roll. He recognizes them and informs Arazu that those are water elementals. They will not bother us, I don't believe, if they don't. Oh my. No
Maybe we
shit.
should go around just to be safe.
They are to the south of you. So they are not blocking your path, but they are kind of standing in just a little line. Here, I'll just draw it. Hold on.
Like I do enjoy learning new things, but drowning does not sound like an
Drowning's not one of them. You don't want to learn what it's like to drown. So they're kind of like,
no.
oop, oop. Yeah, little blue boys. 3 little blue boys just in that line. Hey, come on, language, guys, we don't fucking swear here. What the fuck's wrong with you? So yeah, they are there. Does anyone have any specific reactions or anything they'd like to do? You are
Like
steadily.
not wanting to go towards them, probably.
They are coming towards you, basically on your left.
Are they?
How bad is the storm? Is it like bad enough that
it's
we'd
really
be
not
worried
that
about
bad.
getting swept over?
If
Okay.
anyone wants to roll me a nature check to see, like the specifics. I mean, it's definitely a storm. This isn't a light shower.
I can do that as well. No, I
Yeah.
can't. I'm gonna be horrible at that.
Wow.
Apparently, nature is the one intelligence check I didn't take
no.
proficiency in,
Don't
and it
stop this time.
shows.
No, dude. Jesus. Okay. So Dal with Skava and Arazu all definitely tell. This is just like a storm now, but it's going to be a bad storm in a few hours.
You might want to head towards shore.
So it's just as well that you are heading into shore here rather than trying to head back to Evikro. Otherwise, you would have been caught in the middle of it.
Bassam will probably run up and like, this is such a bad storm, but I feel like it's gonna pass.
I feel like you're gonna miss
Really
The
true.
Psalm, I don't know what's in your tea, but you might want to, not quite drink as much while underway.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're on the ocean. Blah.
It's a terrible storm. We're gonna have to worry about this. So
In reference, so for Ian, as you do that, this is probably the way you guys are kind of hanging out. Along the tide, you are within much clearer eye shot of these creatures, these water elementals. As you, I'm assuming you're chanting or singing a song of Draconic. Okay, as you do that, I mean, they don't really have features, but their bodies look like they turn to face you. Nothing else happens, but they look like they're just watching, as much as water can watch. And it's just, hi.
Do they wave back?
Are you all actually on the bow of the ship waving?
Sure, it would be rude not to.
We're polite to elementals in this group, excuse you. Okay,
Actually, how big are they?
they are the size of the height of the ship. So each of them are
definitely going to be polite.
definitely going to be a real shifted attitude from everyone else.
We're in the middle of the water. Once I'm on land, it might change, but
I'm out of control water spells. If I had control water spell, if I had any 4th level spell slots left, whole different reaction.
That would have been hilarious. Okay.
Why aren't you long resting?
All right. So as Sumari chants and you guys wave and he offers a salute to them, they just kind of like sway a little bit and just kind of move back. I mean, it's not like they were blocking your path, like I mentioned, but they just move that little bit more out of your way. And you pass them and they kind of move back to the line that they were in behind you.
see, this is what happens when you're polite.
This is what happens when you're polite. Yeah, you're a sailor. It's probably a pretty big deal for you. So yeah, the storm is continuing to grow, but you're getting really close to land now. So as you get closer to land, the storm's deluge eases just slightly, blocked by the mountains, and Wiley calls for sailors to adjust the rigging and slow the ship. You begin to notice masses of rock jutting out of the waves in peaks, slowly stretching taller and wider as they get closer to shore. Clearly part of the volcanic landmass here. The towering mountains are sharper than you expected based on what you're used to from the other side of the mountains when you saw it when you were in the forest. Their summits extending like blades cutting into the sky, softened only by the storm clouds gathering around them because they are very tall. You pull into a small cove, which is just here. You pull into a small cove, the area mostly enclosed by arms of rock, which stretch out from the main body of the island like a protective grasp. Once inside, you see a pier large enough for maybe half a dozen ships at the center. As you pull in, you're cast into the shadow of the mountains as the sun begins to set behind its peaks, which will be over its direction. As Wiley and his sailors begin to moor up, you get a chance to see what from sea had looked like nothing more than a formidable mountainside was in fact an enormous castle. Comprised of clusters of small towers, they look like monoliths, carved directly into the pre-existing mountain. There are structures along the base, which you can see now, and what look like strands of silver thread, which stretch like webbing between various spires connecting them all together. And you guys are pulling into the pier, and Wiley's mooring up and everything.
I'm gonna start making my tea and because it's nightfall, right?
It's not quite the sun is starting to set. It's not quite night yet, but it's
Like dusk.
late evening.
I will start prepping and I'll look at or Ian. I can't remember the character's name right now.
Tamari.
Here.
How do I change it in the chat?
It's under
here?
settings.
Yeah, under that cog reel, your little name.
It's like tsunami, but with an R.
Yeah.
Sumari.
It's like tsunami.
It was you were the one who wished to visit this cove. Would it be too much of an inconvenience to set out at dawn? I feel like we could all use some rest after that little expedition.
You mean you wish to stay the night? That was my plan.
Yes. I thought you had a specific reason to come to this cove.
I did.
So as
Okay,
the
then I'll go to bed.
If you'd
so-
like, I can have rooms prepared for you. Welcome to my home. Let's, disembark.
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, go ahead, Dol.
Well, do you have what's the coldest room you have?
I knew you'd have that. Hold on, I have an answer for you, and we're gonna fucking get to it. I knew it. I have it written up and everything, bitch. I knew it. I didn't know if
I
you'd
knew
be
it.
there. I have
The
it.
thing.
I knew it. Okay. So now that it's been revealed that this is Sumari's home, which I will be honest, I thought would have happened just a smidge sooner.
No one asked.
I know. It's whatever. So from the pier, a set of wooden stairs is secured to the rocky mountainside by metal studs. At the top of the landing, you see a dragonborn who is smiling and waving down at you as you were up, kind of welcoming. But yeah, I don't know what everyone wants to do.
Wave a greeting, and do I recognize who's standing watch at the pier?
Yes, you know
It's that girl you ghosted last week, yo.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
They're on to me.
you left her here, and you didn't leave a boat or any way to get home either.
All right. So I'm just going to assume Wile will take his sailors and follow Sumari off the ship, and they will begin going up the steps. I don't know if you guys would like to join them or not.
Since we're not in a hurry, Arazu's going to take the long way and, climb the cliff face.
Okay. Oh yeah, this place is going to be a fucking field day for Arazu. You're going
This
to
is the
love
closest
it.
we've gotten to home for me in a long time.
I have plans for you as well, friend. So.
Precious.
So, as you guys get to the top of that landing where this dragonborn is standing, they look very similar to Sumari. Their scales are a little bit duller, and they're at least a head shorter and just a little bit slimmer in builds. They're wearing a pure white loose robe that's hanging just off of one shoulder and is cinched at the waist. The edges are trimmed in black thread. Those of you who are close enough and bother to look would recognize that that decoration is Draconic, just the language. They nod their head politely and smile, say, "I'm Sumari's sister, and the steward and keeper of our home here. Given the storm rolling in, I assume you'll be staying," but kind of is directing that at Sumari, who is I'm sure is there.
Yes. Would you be able to prepare rooms for Wile and his crew as well as my associates here?
Yeah, of course. You guys can use the guest tower. Sumaka is waiting for you inside. He said you'd be wanting to send a message.
Yes.
Okay.
I need to inform the prince of our findings here.
Okay, he'll be ready for you. If you guys want to come with me.
I
So-
would not be in armor and weapons in this instance. Obviously, I'd be
You
in
wouldn't?
more.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be in more traditional clothes. I'm somewhere safe, so
Okay.
no need for.
So you're just
religion.
carrying your armor?
Pretty much.
As soon as I'm off the boat, I put on the hat and go to Auntie, and then start immediately claiming about how many stairs there are.
As you do, Samara at the top will see you struggling and call down, "Would you like some help getting up the stairs?"
I'm all right. I'm all right, dear. Just these old bones, Just
Can offer you a piggyback ride if that would be easier.
that's sweet. But I have Katsu here.
I am very tall.
Chickens can climb stairs, right? Like that's a thing they can do.
Uh-huh.
I should.
Okay, yeah. Katsu's just.
Technically, chickens can fly a little bit.
Oh my god! Every now and then, it does a little hop and just like
A
really
little feather
pathetically
flap.
flaps to try and fly a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you make better progress with Katsu, but Katsu's also in a moment of almost sentience. Like you could have just stayed with Song. Like why did you? Why did you? Yeah. Okay. So if you guys want to head to the tower, or
Is there much of a beach, or is it just like cliff water?
it's just cliff
Stairs.
water. The water's a lot calmer here because it is in this kind of closed off alcove. But yeah, it is just straight rock into the water.
Okay. I will walk over to Florian and be like, I'm sorry, buddy. I know you rode all that way for nothing. I'll bring you back when it's a little bit more suited to you, and I'll dismiss him.
Aww.
Aw.
I would say the area that I described, there would be flat land in between the towers that he could be on if he wanted to climb the stairs. There wouldn't necessarily be beach, but there is flatter area within the mountains where these towers are built.
Okay, yeah. If there's some flat area with
Yeah, there would be some flat area for him.
trees
Yeah.
or grass or anything, yeah, then
Yeah.
I'll leave it down there. But I'm not going to make
You
you.
can't just like banish the
Walk up.
MVP of the party.
I know, yeah. I'm kind of like, oh my God,
The
can't just
most
get rid of that.
competent member of our party. You can't.
That's
just
how we get a
banish-
total party kill because you left Florian behind.
I could have just cast fly on him, and then he could have just flown up there.
He's
I
not
mean-
flying anymore. He had enough with that anti-gravity field.
Yeah, that he probably isn't super into that. Katsu probably loved it. We didn't actually talk about Katsu in that situation, but Katsu probably loved that.
No, because Katsu is off the. Because I always dismount Katsu because she can't take any damage with that. Because she can't resurrect. So whenever I think there might be trouble, I tend to not be on
Not
Katsu.
sure. That's fair. Okay, so as you guys, sorry, go ahead, Terry.
No, I was just going to ask if we can get some food before we go to sleep. Maybe a midnight snack, and maybe if they have some herbs to trade.
Just absolutely. I'll show you if you would like to. The kitchen's in your tower, but there is more than enough food and tea, coffee, anything you guys would like. But come this way. So she leads you to a tower that's one of the first ones that you come to, and you do see that there would be an area for Florian and other steeds like Katsu if you wanted to. Not traditional stables, but more just this wide grazing area that's part of this area in between the bases of all these towers. As you get close, you can tell that the towers are definitely made entirely of stone, like they're carved straight out of the mountain. Those of you who would be familiar with dwarves would almost think that looks like something dwarven. Instead of making something with stone and assembling it, it's carved as if out of one piece. The doors are metal, but they open without a squeak as you pass through them. More metal has been used in the build of this place, both inside and out, than any of you have likely seen before. Intricate designs arch in silver and steel up and around doorways and windows, crossing along the ceiling and walls like ornate architectural braces. In the entryway stands another dragonborn. This one's identical to the one that met you on the pier. Only they're wearing a black robe decorated with white thread, and he seems about as shy as a reptile seems capable of being, and is kind of nods in greeting, but then just looks at Sumari as if he's waiting.
It's good to see you,
I
brother.
think I just saw a glitch in the Matrix. Was it the same Dragonborn or one like the same Dragonborn?
They are both in the same place at the same time.
My friends, would you care to listen to the message I plan to send the prince, or would you prefer to take rest in your rooms?
I think we can all trust you, honey. I'm tired, and I would have been walking this last bit on my own feet because I would have let Katsu with Florian at the
Sure.
to graze. If you can just direct me to the second coldest room in your house.
If you're sure that's what you want, the colder rooms are going to be at the top once the fires get going. I know most creatures like warmth, but if you would like the cold, we can simply leave the fires off in the building.
And
not
she
sure.
kind of looks at like starts rubbing her knees and like, I don't need the second coldest room. Somewhere where I don't have to climb too many steps, if you wouldn't mind, dear.
Certainly, there's a room right this way. She will lead you to a guest chamber right on that bottom floor.
And I'll thank her for her hospitality and then start like, if you would like, I have a fine collection of teas. If you would like to join me for tea, I haven't had anyone want to partake in a while. Everyone wants that newfangled coffee.
Oh no, I love both tea and coffee. I would be happy to join you. I just want to make sure everybody is settled and has everything that they need before you go to sleep. And she will turn to the rest of the group and ask if there is anything else you'd like. She says, if you're looking for a way to pass the evening without the, I'm sure, terribly charming company of my brother here. God, I hate it, Ian. Why are you like this? If you're looking for a way to pass the evening without my terribly charming brother's company, there's the altar hall, should you wish to honor or commune with the gods, the training grounds, I believe the younglings are still there at this hour, and the library, should any of you be interested in some reading.
Younglings, don't tell Anakin.
I knew you'd make that. I left that word in specifically because I knew you would make that joke.
If it makes you feel better, I too
If
hit
it's
send.
okay and it pleases you, I'd really just like to explore around. Before I even got to Ma'aka, I heard of Surimakalani Okanuka Kalanaga's.
Yes!
Is that anywhere close?
Yes, you are very close. You are very, very close. I'm so thrilled. I didn't come to
Kalanaga's history. And I'm assuming she built this place. It's quite magnificent. I would like to look around and just take it in.
Certainly, you're more than welcome. If you'd like, one of us could escort you, but you're more than welcome to wander as you will. Yeah, and she'll go into a little bit of a spiel about the history that, the place was built by, she calls her grandma or grandmama. This place was built by grandmama, and, all of us, every generation subsequently have lived here since then.
Arizu becomes that random person that just wanders into a tour group, like uninvited. And
Yeah, you're just suddenly there, like,
participates in the tour.
I'm here now. Do we have
Does
headphones?
Does she
Okay.
have one of those little Japanese flags that she holds up for the tour groups to follow her?
Yes.
Right?
Oh my gosh, it pulls a little
We're
flag.
walking, we're
It's this
stopping.
way, guys.
And
English
we're stopping,
purpose
and we're
literature.
looking to the left, and now we're walking.
Oh, click, 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 click. Oh.
So, yes, she gives you permission to wander as you'd like. If you want to know where anything specific is, you can ask pretty much anyone, and they would be more than happy to point you in the right direction. Would anybody else like?
I'm really just like interested in the architecture.
Okay, yeah. Let's see. Well, I can get back to them after. Really quick, does anyone else? Yeah. Terry.
Yeah, Dahl only really wants to go to the library after getting the snack, of course, as well as the temple to make prayer.
Okay.
I'm just asking ahead of time, is there any specific gods that aren't allowed to be prayed to?
No. Anyone who worships is welcome to worship here, so long as they have the good of Ma'aka in mind and in their hearts. There are no specifics. We worship the pantheon here.
And what's the definition of good in hearts? Just to make sure we don't get things
Terry.
wrong.
If you worship the gods of Ma'aka, you are inherently good.
Well, then I'm good there. Thank you.
So she will say she could take you to get snacks and then to the, did you say library first or?
Well, we're going to get snacks and then possibly head to the library. But I mean, I didn't want to pray with my mouth full, so I want to stop at the library, take my time eating all my snacks, then eventually
Okay.
get to the temple on the way to room.
Are there any,
And-
additional stewards nearby? Because I would have them sack with all of my armor and gear and ask them if they could put Grandmama somewhere safe, like on her her pedestal.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure someone else would scamper up and one of the younger cousins maybe. I'd be more than happy to do that for you.
Excellent.
Yeah, you wanna, now that you've fucking let that slip, my guy.
No one said anything, but my armor is made of bone and scale.
Yeah. I mean, that's not something that I think in character maybe anyone would have figured out, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess they kill their family and wear them when they're dead.
Yeah, you don't kill them.
I feel like maybe they're talking to Auntie. Adults talking to Auntie on that one, and she's like, "I don't want to say anything, dearie. I mean, we're an eclectic group. I feel like it sometimes is best to just let things slide."
Just let sleeping dragons lie.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anyone want to then go with the library, or does anyone want anything else to do?
I literally am just making tea and
Yeah.
waiting for my dinner guest, and
Okay. Yeah.
I go through the whole thing and make tea, and I already rolled my divination rolls, as
Yeah.
spectacular as those are.
Did we hear back from Urdu at
Someone
all?
Definitely
If she
fail it,
if she
spot
expressed
that.
interest in this corpse or meeting us or anything like that?
Oh, did you actually send it?
I said earlier
Oh,
that I would be doing that so that she would have the opportunity of maybe meeting us, so it would be fresher than
Yeah.
going the whole way back.
She sounds. I obviously don't have that prepared, but it would be a mix of confusion and definite excitement, and yeah, she'd find a way to meet you in Avikro to get that body from you.
Okay.
I will eventually make my way to the library, but I'm
Okay.
just looking for.
I figured our tour group was
information
going to get
about
there
this place.
eventually.
I'm in total tourist mode.
Yeah, that the tour has got to circle
I'm
back.
in full armor, trying to be respectable.
The
Yeah.
library is like the
I'm
gift
in
shop
total
at the end of the
tourist
tour,
mode,
right?
taking it all in.
I will say, as those of you who are wandering, no one here other than your group is not Dragonborn. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. After I get snacks, I wanted to get a robe, just like everybody else has one.
It's gonna
You know, we're treating this like a
robe?
hotel. So, yeah, I want
We-
one of the robes.
It's on one shoulder. It's not a toga, but those one-shouldered kind of robes. It's one of those. And she looks down at it and goes, "Oh, we only wear these for the comfort of your kind when they come. Typically, you prefer us with clothing. It makes us easier to tell apart. We're aware that we look very similar, those of us born of the same clutches."
Does that mean I get a robe?
She actually looks at you like, if you'd like one, I suppose we could try to have one made for someone of your size.
Well, I would appreciate it because when I usually stay at hotels, it's kind of customary for my people, and I don't think you guys would talk about it. We try to
If
get a
you
robe
steal
from
our
where we
towels,
stay.
I will challenge you to a duel.
Is it just the towels, or if they have little soaps, will you challenge them for stealing the little
Oh,
soaps?
you can have the little soaps, that's fine.
Shampoos.
Those
Those
are
bottles of
complimentary. We
shampoo?
print advertisements on those. So you steal them.
She actually looks a little offended that you would call this astonishing architectural majesty that is the creation of an ancient silver dragon who is the favorite of, by the way, your goddesses, and thus you would know about it.
I don't think adult knows about any of that.
No, he would have if he actually worshipped.
Gotta make money somehow.
He would be aware of those, yes. But if he does all of that anyway, she will look a little offended and go, "Hotel, huh? Well, then I will look forward to your payment for your stay. Upon your leave, I will have a robe delivered to whatever room you choose to stay in, and this way." And so she will walk off with whoever else wants to walk off.
She's like, "I gotta go come up with monetary value for the mini bar in your room."
Somewhere with whatever tea gas stand he has, like, I sense a disturbance, and we one of my group might have offended one of your group.
Oh, shocking. I love how quickly this flip-flops from being respectful to an elemental that cannot communicate with you to as soon as something can talk. Oh, hell no. We're going to dress you the fuck down. So if you guys want to wander, what should I start with, basically? I have the altar hall, the library, and the training ground. And there are things to do with each. I don't know who wants to go where.
What is the altar hall? That
was the place she said if you want to pray and honor the deities. It's basically a significant chunk of one tower that is dedicated just to worship.
I want to go over there not to pray, but just to see if I can tell what gets prayed to the most here.
Okay, sure. So that would be one of the central towers. There's this whole cluster, obviously, one of the central ones. This altar hall is at the very base of the central tower and is both somehow decadent and humble. The ornateness of the hall is clear not in a wealth of expensive metals or gems, but rather in the elaborate and clearly painstaking care taken in carving the statues and reliefs that line the hall. Each section of the wall is clearly dedicated to a different god. but their scenes aren't separated. Instead, they flow together in a massive carved mural which stretches around the entire room. Seats are arranged in the form of soft cushions and short wooden benches that have pockets on either sides, some with books in them. And lanterns the lanterns here are already lit and the room is warm. And if you want to see who is prayed to the most, how would you be trying to determine that?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out like whose altar is the most impressive, who's got the most candles lit. Like,
Yeah. I don't think there would be as much candles or things like that. They would have instead, since it is just a circular room, nothing stands out as being more elaborate or ornate or anything, but there probably are more seats and things clustered before the altar of Nihanu and Tihanu.
Are there any
Okay.
icons that don't jive with the standard good gods in here?
No, everything looks the same. Poimana's circle is, or spiral
so we
is
don't have
standard.
any
Everything,
reverse spirals hidden
There's
in here anywhere.
no, all of this looks actually kind of like really crazily traditional. This is a lot of,
The conservatives live here. Got it.
not quite conservatives, but yeah, the more traditional iconography
Do
is
you want
here.
to see my weapon collection?
I will burn a modest offering to Mepale just
Okay.
because I'm there.
Okay, sure.
I'm basically already worshiping Poimana by experiencing this tour and recording the memories, so we're good.
Oh my god, you have a little GoPro that you're not wearing anywhere, but you're holding and you're recording.
I am the GoPro.
I know. All right, hold on.
I just have this image of him like with fingers on his temples looking around.
That's how he hits the on and off button.
He's definitely making that sound too, isn't
Yep.
it? Every once in a while he casts the light spell, just like super fast.
I can't do the light spell. Sorry, no flashes.
Not just flash for no reason.
Nope, no
flash
flash.
photography in the church, please. Thank you.
Okay. Would anyone else who came with to the altar like to do anything? Yeah.
Vidal would go take the time, saying he's new to it, loud to himself kind of thing, not sure what to do to pray, so he does what he can. Thank you. And then he gives the author, give you the offering, whatever he has, you can make shift into a little snack there.
Okay. Got it. If you guys then continue wandering, I'm assuming you will find your way to the library by climbing the stairs, which, as you climb the stairs of one of the towers, you look out the windows and notice that silver, what looked like silver webbing, is actually long wires and cables suspending bridges that cross in between each of the towers so that you do not have to go all the way to the ground, exit, and climb all the way back up to get to a similar level on another tower. They seem almost arbitrarily placed, but there must be some kind of system, because as you're watching, one of the what looks like a younger dragonborn leaps from a window onto the bridge and starts running across it, and another one leaps out chasing him. As you get to the library, because of course it's me, the library is enormous. Shut up. Stretching up what must be several stories of the tower, and strangely organized. The tall shelves aren't labeled, and the types of material don't seem to be separated. Scrolls and loose pages are kind of just tucked in amongst and on top of even the shelves of books. There are a handful of ladders on wheels that will stretch to the tops for those who can't just scale or fly. And each of those, every single one of those moving ladders has at least a couple of books on it that just never got around to being reshelved. There are tables beneath each massive arched window, complete with cushioned seats, and lamps are hung liberally along the walls. As you walk in there, you would probably see that Sumara is actually already there. You were wandering off on your own, but she is there. And she sees you and she goes, "Oh, you've made it. Is there anything that I can help you find here?"
Yes. Can you help me find out where these books belong? I need to put them away.
All of them?
The ones that seem to be out. If there's an order I can put them in, I'm going to try to do that real quick. If there's on a specific table, that'd be easier. Just tell me that's where they belong and I can put them there.
Sure, if you could collect all of these stray books and put them on, and she actually will point to a table that already has a handful of books piled on it. She's like, sure, if you would like to collect them all and place them here, that would be the first step.
I do. And he does what he can to do that, and then once he gets that out of order, it says, before we move to the next task, I'm just looking to see if there's any recipes and if there's any maybe exotic foods that you have books on. I'm trying to make my repertoire better. Not everyone likes my food. I love my cookies.
Love your cooking. God, it's so good. Infamous, one would say. Sure. She would, out of character, obviously, she would lead you over to a loose kind of culinary section. Most of it is pretty clearly shelves of handwritten cookbooks that are not published, but like this was just someone's auntie's cookbook kind of thing. And loose sheets of paper that someone scrawled notes down on and things like that. There are probably a shelf or two of actual cookbooks. That would vary, but good.
Well, I was going to say, if he finds a bunch of written books, he's going to say, do you guys have any paper that I can actually write into my own cookbook as well as make a copy of mine to give you guys?
Yeah, sure, certainly. And one of the tables that she could lead you to would have some parchment and a quill available for you.
Okay, awesome. And then once he gets what he can, read whatever it is, okay, now we can shelf the books and we can take the time doing that, whatever you want.
Okay.
Did you spend a lot of time in here with your grandma?
I didn't get the chance to meet my grandma, but I do love being in here. Some of the things are in here are hers. So you know, she gets kind of really excited about the books. Clearly, this is her jam, but I feel closest to her here because I have her words, even if I didn't get to hear them myself.
I totally understand if you don't want to, and I won't hold it against you, but would you mind showing me some of those things?
Sure. Grandma wrote about a lot. What are you interested in? Anything in particular? I mean, she did everything. Science and history, and she was really great with nautical things. And she even got a little into poetry and romance.
I'm just being here makes me feel close to the legend. What do you like? What of her speaks to you?
She pauses as if she's not used to being asked that question. And Grandma cared a lot about the island when it started. She was here before even the Vaughn, before everyone, the Tritons and the Tortles and everyone. And yeah, how about this? And she'll lead you over to a section that kind of looks like historical stuff, dry historical documents, but she would pull out a book that's specifically about the history of Ma'aka and when it was founded, how Grandma, played a role in the founding of the Volaka and the nautical defenses of Ma'aka. Just a lot of this is written in her own hand. So if you don't speak Draconic, I can try and find a translation for you, but this is one of my favorites to read.
Actually, let me check something.
Go for it.
I think I do, but I'm gonna cast. Actually, I might not. I'm gonna cast Comprehend Languages.
Yeah.
But yeah, occasionally I'm gonna just kind of peruse through. But occasionally I'm gonna ask if maybe she can just read it, just because I want to hear it in the Draconic.
Okay. She is thrilled to indulge that. Like super thrilled to indulge that. Yeah. I can give you a write-up later too of I have specifics on what you would learn by reading that specific. Yeah.
Dang it, I don't speak Draconic. I'm just
fangirling out too. Like I'm really not looking at anything specific.
Yeah. There really are. She would be gushing that Grandma would have written on everything from, treatises with other cultures as they encountered Ma'aka to, the accounts of the deities and how they interacted with external cultures once they met. Basically, everything that would be in the handouts, but from Grandmama's perspective, as well as a lot of stuff on magic and morals and combat.
Did she say all that in Draconic, or did she switch back to Common?
She would be saying all of that in Common.
Okay, cool.
But she would be,
I'm actually going to make a point of asking about the masks.
She tilts her head and looks at the masks. I don't think I recognize those. What are those from?
Some very bad people we've been encountering of late. too slowly. And they
Oh,
seem to also be associated with, and I show the reverse spiral of the anti-Poimanaists, as I'm personally calling them.
she actually physically recoils, like seeing it is gross to her, and goes,
Yes.
"That's no. What? Who are these people?"
I don't
This-
know. I just figured I'd ask if you might have had something in here that could have helped with that mystery.
This must be what Sumari's looking into for the prince. We may have something. Give me a moment, and she will scurry off.
Sorry, Wiskava. Keep reading.
I mean,
Oh,
at this
okay.
point, she's probably
About this time, you answer something like important, so she's actually paying attention to you.
No,
Yeah.
thanks. Finally, for the first time in this entire adventure, Wiskava is paying attention to me.
Oh, yeah. Scott
Don't
had
let go of
other
your
like
head, it'll change.
really,
I know.
really.
And,
Hey,
and
I
slightly
had
embarrassed
to
that
go
she
for
got
a-
distracted.
Yeah. She did pay
Mission.
attention when I held the rope for her to go for a swim, so it's not the first time.
Yeah.
So I can't give all the to you now because I have it all written out, but I didn't make them handouts because I didn't know if you guys would bother with this yet. Yay, nerds.
Yay.
So I will post it all for you guys earlier than day of next time. But yeah, so she would come back with stacks of books and pamphlets and scrolls and things that she thinks could possibly pertain to it.
Blasphemies and heathenry.
Yeah, recordings from her grandmama before she died of things that may pertain to what Sumara might have heard with bad people and magic and manipulating the word of the gods and that kind of thing. So yeah,
fantastical.
fantastical. Yeah.
Sleep is suddenly overrated. We have things to read.
Nerd alert.
There should have been an Emperor Fabulous, shouldn't there?
There should have been. Is anyone else at the library, or do they want anything? Or I know that when all of this settles, she will suddenly realize that she is very late for her appointment with tea with Auntie, and will haul ass back, probably with a collection of books that she's guessing maybe Auntie would like because she feels really bad, and everybody likes books, right? So here's my apology. Here's some light reading for the evening.
Auntie's probably like is on like her third pot of tea.
When she
Really
busts through the door,
bathroom.
she's probably holding like books on divination and aviary and like poems and things, and she just like brought a collection of everything she thinks might possibly. It's like, I know nothing about you, so I brought a lot. I don't know what you might like.
Honestly, dear, I was looking for some company with my tea. Please sit down.
So-
It's been a while since I don't. It's been, I'd say, ages since I was here last.
Have you been here before?
Oh, yeah. It's been a while. The last time. Oh, I can't even remember the last time. It wasn't. I think your grandmother's library was just kind of starting out. Looks like it's filled out quite a bit.
Hold on. I want her to make a roll against something. Are you in any way trying to disguise your situation?
Nope.
Haha.
I feel like they probably know at least a
Yeah.
little bit of what's going on.
Well, so she does, because she's got a little bit of
Uh-huh.
magic juju herself. So she goes, "Oh my, fascinating! I can't believe you were here that long ago. I hadn't hatched yet. I'm much younger.
She just called you old.
I sometimes I poke my head in like once a lifetime or so. All this is a little bit too civilized for me, honestly. This current body is just a little. I don't feel like you had nearly as many stairs last time I was here, honestly.
If you'd like, if you're familiar, we do still have some of the lifts on the southern edge of the towers. We can put you in those, or I have this, and she will summon it. She will summon.
Age comes with some stubbornness, honey. I've never taken one of your lifts before. I don't plan to now.
Okay, she had summoned Tensor's disc, and then when you say that, she poofs it and goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, all right. Well, if you change your mind and would like to see the sunrise, perhaps from the peaks, let me know. Any of us would be happy to take you up there."
I have caught too. If I mean, she's
Inside
stubborn
the
old bird.
building.
Yeah, but we to be honest, I was hoping I definitely just wanted the company, but I feel like we've been putting out fires for the and
see
we'd
what you did
really
there.
I'd like to find out who's been holding the matches. I'm sure some of my compatriots have already mentioned something towards those lines, and I was hoping this place has always been a place of peace. I was hoping you haven't had anything unusual happen around here, have you?
Luckily, no. I think Grandmama's presence is too strong here for certain things to take hold, but we have noticed, my brothers in particular, you, now that you're with Sumari, I'm sure he's shared some, but it seems like he and your companions are now all trying to find the same people. I don't know quite what's going on, but I know the magics have definitely been disturbed. She'll share that the other brother you saw in the black robes, that she's in white, he's the black one. She will share with you that they are twins, which is rare, especially for Dragonborn, but that he is a diviner himself, and he has been particularly plagued by strange dreams for decades now, and they only seem to have been getting more frequent and worse, and that is why he's so eager to help his older brother Sumari and the prince and everyone figure out what's going on.
Well, it sounds. In the morning, I'd love to, if I could. I would love to talk to your brother. Then, see if what one of us can do alone. If two of us can forgive the expression, but divine where we should head next.
She actually will laugh at that. Yeah.
And then it was like, I also have to ask. Last time I was here, the robes are new.
Yeah, there were just so many people coming in, and they couldn't tell us apart, and I could tell they kind of started getting embarrassed when they could. There's not a lot of dimorphism between us, and there was just some awkward incidents. So
I always enjoy it. I have to say, I always enjoyed the freedom that came when I came here, and the lack.
Trust me, as soon as everyone is gone, they are off. She laughs.
Well, I don't want another pot of tea to get cold, so she'll start. And but we can talk about these serious matters in the morning.
Sure thing. She'll finish her tea with you. And did anyone else have something they wanted to do or look into, or someone they wanted to talk to, somewhere they wanted to go?
Well, once in the library, once Arazu kind of says things that would get us back on track, and was kind of remembers, oh yeah, she's supposed to be doing stuff. She is going to look. She's going to try to inquire about maps of the immediate local area and try to find out if we know where right there, because that seems to be kind of in their domain.
Where was it? I didn't see the pink. Okay, yeah, that area.
The ley line cross up here in the mountains.
Okay, so you're looking for anything that may correspond to that?
Yeah, any type of
Yeah. Okay.
Really, just to that geographical location.
Okay. So, knowing that you're looking for that because it's an intersection of the ley lines, you would likely be able to find some kind of arcane theories about ley lines in general, although there is no precise map like Auntie was able to divine for you. About that geographical location, you would be able to find a handful of myths and legends about, creatures that came from there, that, had been bested by the Great Silver Dragon, and how that was the mountain keep from which she came to help form Evikro and the Volaka in general and all of that. But most of what you would find, it would seem fairly random, but knowing what you know now about it being an intersection of the ley lines, you can see, oh, this is another instance of clearly this is where the magic is closer, as it were, to this field, so things are drawn there. Yeah. Are we looking for something more specific?
But there's no like specific mountain that's right there that gets.
There is no like
to,
mountain
or...
Doom or something. No.
Yeah.
But
okay.
if you wanted to look
There's no
further,
mountain with a skull in the side of the face and a sword buried there.
It's weird. There's no like giant skull where the mouth is the entrance to a cave and you enter through there and it breathes fire. Yeah, no.
It's not like a giant petrified tiger head. It sings, "Enter ye only who are
Perhaps
the diamond in
it's
the rough."
looking for the diamond in the rough. I was going to make that joke. Damn it.
Unfortunately not. Nothing quite that specific, but
Carol Baskins already took that cave. Telling you.
There are definitely myths that correspond there, as well as probably zoological things about weird creatures in the area, but nothing that stands out that glaringly.
And then sometime very, very, very late at night, too late, not late at night, but way too late into the evening. She'll remember, oh yeah, I just left Wile at the dock.
No, he would have come in with his sailors and they would have set up in the guest tower too. He wasn't completely abandoned. He was forgotten, which I mean, with this wealth of
did
coolness,
very specifically say to provide room for Wile and his sailors. Just throwing
but
that
you're
out.
not the one.
No, I mean she means personally she forgot him.
With
Yeah.
Kava, forgot.
Scott forgot it, which is whoa, she's So yeah, there's in that guest tower, it's like 2 rooms per floor, and then every few floors there is an entertaining kind of eating, hanging out area. So that's where they all would have set up in their own rooms and everything in the same tower you guys are in.
Yeah. So she'll go looking for him way too late.
Like way too late, like he's asleep. Is your expectation? Or way
Well,
too
maybe
late?
it depends on when he sleeps. But yeah, like way too late to have been like polite.
Let's just roll for it.
It's like 2:00 in the morning. That drunk friend coming over.
I was
Yeah.
Okay, so it is like midnight, 1 a.m. When you find the room that he's been assigned, because you've been like maybe checking in different rooms, and like if it's dark, I don't know, maybe you don't enter, but if there's lights on, you're like, "Where's Wiley?" I'm like, "Up there, I don't know."
At some point, she walks into a room with a very naked auntie. Just the hat.
It's just the hat and auntie. You have that now.
Drinking tea, drinking
Oh.
tea.
Where's Wiley?
Would you like some tea, honey?
Sleep over there.
It's my 5th pot.
Maybe in the morning. Where's Wiley?
Last I saw him, he was in the common room, just a few floors up. I asked all the sailors if they. I asked all the sailors if they wanted tea, and no one took me up on it. Feeling a little rejected right now. I think I just broke Shayna.
I almost want to make you roll for it if you've got a sailor in there with you.
You want a persuasion roll?
20, and if you've got a 20, you've got a sailor in there with you, please, because I want that. Shayna just want that.
Yeah.
I'm a tea. Yar.
Damn it. Okay, so not quite. One of them was tempted, but his friend drug him away. It's like, no, you don't know this lady very well yet. Come on.
His less drunk friend.
Yeah.
Bassam is attractive, right?
Bassam is decently attractive, but I'm anti right now. I have the hat on.
It's just that.
Yeah, but you don't. Your
When the
body
hat-
doesn't change, right?
It does.
It does. It's a hat of disguise.
So.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yummy.
All right. So yeah, sure enough, Wiley is a few floors up in the common area. He is probably at this late at night. He's there, but only because he is unconscious. He probably passed out eating. He's just in a chair, conked out.
So it's been a while. Do
I'll
I manage
try to
get a
carry him
message
to a
off the
bed
prince?
without waking him up.
Okay. You're strong enough. I'm sure you're able to. He's not wearing armor or anything right now.
You'll need
But sorry.
guarantee.
Sumar, what'd you say again?
Well, I was gonna say I haven't really done anything yet. I was wondering if I
I
could get
know.
my message off to the prince while the
Yes.
8 hours that have passed have passed.
It hasn't quite been 8. It's actually only probably been 4 or 5 hours. But yeah, so you with your brother are able to, connect with the prince's diviner on his end. Essentially, you guys have the diviners act as kind of walkie-talkies between the two. So you're
Basically.
able to communicate that way. You report in. What do you want to say to him?
It'd be something along the lines of my prince. I've encountered strange creatures on the route from Ivikro to Mapuka. They seem to have been fiendish in nature. I don't. Just out of character, I don't think we've encountered any more of the symbol that I was given. Correct on any of those beasts?
No, you wouldn't have seen the symbol on the beasts. No.
Okay. Then I would also inform him that I had not found any evidence of the smugglers amongst the beasts, but they were for sure targeting one, our Valakan ship, and 2, the civilian ship that was being escorted.
Okay. The prince will look concerned at fiendish because that is not a common issue in Ma'aka at all. So that's particularly disconcerting. The fact that they also, from what you found, they don't seem linked is a concern as well, because now you're facing 2 issues. And he will ask you to send as detailed images as possible of the creatures or any kind of physiological reports you can give on what they looked like, what they did, anything that might be able to help trace them or figure out what they were.
I was going to have a couple of my siblings take the corpse for examination, the one that's been bound to the ship. I figure they'd be able to study it, divine it through the night, if possible. So if we can do that, then I can get a detailed description and analysis to the prince in the morning.
Okay, but just overnight so they can have it back in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so that we'd take it from the group, but simply because I know that there's resources here to exploit more.
Okay. Study. Okay. Sure.
And then once that's done, I'd clap my brother on the shoulder, ask him how he's been, roughhouse with him a little bit because I know he's a bit nerdy.
He, before you hang up on the prince, he would ask you to stay tuned. Essentially, he will, once he gets the reports about the body, and any additional information that he can find through other means, he will get back to you in the morning with a follow-up for your mission.
Okay, so he can provide me with additional orders then.
Yes.
Oh, good. Then I don't feel as lost.
I figured that's what your character would want. So he will sign off then, keep this short, and yeah. Your brother would, take to the younger brother negging as much as they always do, and would, when you ask him how he's been, would probably be honest with you that his dreams and visions are steadily getting worse and more consistent. It's becoming difficult to sleep because he doesn't want to keep seeing these things.
Is there any protective wards he can place around himself to help?
Not that he hasn't already. This has been a steadily growing issue for decades now. It started with maybe just a couple here and there, maybe a few times a year then it was every month, and more recently it's been more frequent.
Is there anything I can do to help him, or does he have more prophetic dreams that you think that I can keep an eye out for? Since we're a fairly religious family.
Yeah. He would tell you that there definitely seems to be turmoil amongst the gods, not with one another, but in their attempts to keep Ma'aka safe and figure out what's going on. But other than this sense that the gods just want to find out what's going on as well, like that sense that they're also lost is what is so disconcerting for him, especially since you are such a religious family. So yeah, that's the part that's probably the most disconcerting him. Seeing visions of violence or things like that would probably not perturb him at this point. He's a diviner, it happens. But that's the part that's weird.
Okay. Why don't, since it's so rare that I'm home, see if we can gather the family together to have a nice dinner and invite all of the
Oh my
the
god, your
guests.
giant fucking family.
Oh,
Okay,
I mean, I haven't been home in a while.
all 64 of you. I don't
It's
actually remember
not my problem.
how many collections. Yeah, well, I don't have the list right now. So sure enough, if anyone who is still awake, this probably would be very late, around midnight. Anyone who's still awake gets, a small dragonborn running by, definitely, clearly just a child, inviting whoever's awake to dinner. They're going to have a big family dinner. Other than that, did you want anything specific?
Me?
Like for
I-
the dinner?
No, not anything specific. I just want to, a chance to visit with the family. I am gonna try to take some time in the night to, write in my journal, maybe in the library or something. Just relax.
Okay.
Sit
Anyone who's still there that late then.
sit with my suit of armor, put some incense out, just, do some prayers and stuff.
Right
Visit
in your
the
journal.
church.
Okay.
Write in my journal, yeah.
Okay.
Whip the calligraphy set out, make it all fancy.
All fancy.
Mhm.
Okay. Terry?
Yeah, so I was saying I'd probably be up late in the evening trying to figure out, like I said, if I get all the books on the shelf. But if someone came around asking for food or talking about food, I'd probably go with them. And then I'd probably be very little awkward kind of asking about food, but then asking them how you tell people apart. And wondering why they don't have a sign about this is not a hotel, so people don't get the wrong idea.
The person who came to tell you about food would be a child. So in that brilliant
Perfect.
childlike way, he'll
The
look at you
perfect
and
counterpart for this conversation with Dull is actually a child. Why isn't there a sign? I don't know. That's a really good idea. Why isn't there a sign?
no, actually, the kid is going to look at you and go, "Do you assume everybody's house is a home just because the house is a hotel because it's big?" And he continues off.
Yes.
The sass is strong in my family, by the way.
The dry not understanding, like, "Oh, you thought this was a hotel? That's very odd. It's just a big house."
Yeah. Well, so basically, any house that can accommodate as many people as it did in short notice, as well as give us their own separate tower to stay in, I assume it's a hotel.
Have you encountered many dragons before? They tend to have large estates.
No, I've never met a dragon before.
Oh, so now you know. Big towers don't usually mean hotel. I'm sure the king and queen would not appreciate you calling their castle a hotel either.
Is there a dragon that I should worry about?
He looks at you like you're really dumb and goes, "Grandma?"
No. Sorry, my name's Doll. It's pronounced Doll.
And goes, "Oh, you're dumb," and then literally walks away.
I'm buying that particular family member the best present.
So
Makes a note of that.
No, unfortunately, that family member is probably the next room over is probably Auntie's, who is now on her 6th cup of tea right after Wiskava would have been there.
yeah, you're probably really wired. Drinking all that tea is not going to go tea unless you specifically have decaf. You've got some like herbal
It's
shit.
all herbal tea. It's not.
Okay, I was going to say otherwise, if that's like a
Like
matcha
her
or something.
morning tea is definitely caffeinated, but her evening
okay.
tea is definitely herbal. She's probably actually really calm right now.
Okay. So you're really chill and you just see, maybe you hear down the hall, you hear a kid go, "Oh, you're just really dumb." And then you see out the crack of the door from when Miskava poked her head in, a little dragonborn dart by, stop, come back.
Miskava's like, "Oh, have you seen Wally?"
He'll come back and poke his head in. "If you want dinner, we're all having dinner. It's down this way." And he
Do
doesn't,
I have to put clothes back on? Never mind.
no, those are weird, and keeps running.
Okay. That means that
Don't
Auntie
get
is
it.
walking right outside in the exact same state of dress as she was to dinner.
None of the dragonborn blink. They don't even, they don't care. Nude is nude. They don't understand the propensity for cloth and extra things. Armor makes sense because it's practical, but clothing for the most part, especially for dragonborn who don't have chafy bits, they don't have to worry about it.
And here comes someone with lots of chafy bits.
I hate that you said that. I was specifically not. Anyway, so Auntie's at dinner. It sounds like Doll will probably join. Wiskava's carrying Wiley to bed. Princess stuff.
Ares is going through the stack of books apparently that he was given on blasphemies and heathenry in Maka.
You wouldn't have to pour over them all night. I can give you a synopsis later if you'd like.
But that's what he's doing.
Okay.
Until he decides to call it a night and go to bed.
Does Jin want to do anything specific?
Jin's trying to stay out of trouble since trouble seems to be following him.
How are you achieving that?
Staying away from Erasu. I mean, staying very close to Erasu.
Yeah, and I have a few questions.
I have answers.
Oh, maybe.
Ooh,
Oh, I do. What's
I
up?
have oatmeal.
Okay, so things that are going on. Does Jin know if there'd be somebody besides his fiance that would be leading that family? Like does she have like a brother, like an older brother or something like that? That would be I would have to look out for, or
It is.
or does she do it herself?
It is possible that she could have enlisted members of her family to join her, but the obsessive nature requires a little bit of a hands-on attitude from her.
Oh, so you're saying she's obsessive? That's awesome.
I'm not saying that it was in your character background, but it might have been in your character background.
Oh, the sass is strong in the GM's family as well.
We all
It's
know
genetic.
that. It's
Yeah, I was going to say, if any of you had ever met my father, you would not be surprised.
okay.
Next
Also
question?
brain twin.
Shush.
And
Silence.
does Jin think that his family would be involved in this? Like,
In what capacity? In the helpful for your fiance?
yeah,
Or-
maybe.
Given the reason that you left home, that seems like a logical leap. You have not seen, from these hints that you've been getting, you have not seen your own family's crest pop up, but that doesn't necessarily mean
But I
anything.
know that my family is a little bit less,
Yeah, they're a little bit less about, shall we say, public face.
showing it. Oh,
They
God.
have a brand. Your family doesn't really care about the brand. They care about the power.
Well, I assume me and you are probably going to have to talk a little bit later offline about what
Yeah,
else
If
is
you, if you don't mind, I was
about
wait,
other family members, maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
But it is very, very clear at this point that your fiance is pretty directly involved in this. That is their house sigil. It's very obvious. You actually would probably, from the memories, and now from having seen them in person, you would even recognize probably the make, style, material of the armor and weaponry that were on these quote unquote revolutionaries.
Cool.
Congrats.
I just gotta keep low key. Hopefully they don't know I'm here.
Keep that low profile.
Yeah, I'm gonna start disguising myself.
You guys suddenly don't know where Jin is anymore, but there's this weird old guy with this really outrageous beard with you all the time. It's really odd.
Do I need to start hexing you every day so I know where you are? Are hunters marking you every day so I know
How
where you
seriously do you take your bodyguard duties?
are? Well, he
You
hasn't
could
made me
leash
have to do
him.
that yet.
Well,
so-
Child's leashes that are backpacks that are animals that have a big leash on the end of it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
one of the-
Well, Erasu does definitely notice that Jin is sticking closer to him a lot more than usual now. Like after several, it's like one time you see in the sigil, maybe it's not. Maybe somebody here has that sigil. Who knows? But then you keep on seeing it pop up, and you're just like,
Okay, maybe I shouldn't be alone in a dark alley anymore.
Yeah. About halfway to dinner, the half.
Nice.
The best. I love it.
I love it. I
Just so we can
absolutely
skip ahead. Absolutely.
love it. Yeah.
Doll has a jacket to give her. That's the whole point.
So what?
Has a layer of clothing to offer. Is all.
Bassam is to her room. Like she just beelines for it.
So I know we're at the 2-hour mark. So I'm assuming we want to call it for here. Or did anyone want to do anything really quickly or have a little moment really quickly before we call it until next session? Okay, cool. Then that's it for now. What If anyone has any other